Good morning, students. So today, I think almost all the topics are covered for the astrology. So now, today we can start with the skull bones. Okay. Skull bones. We already, I think in the introduction section, we are all familiar with the bones. We just see which are the bones. Okay. So this is our skull, and here we can see the skull bones. There are 22 bones are there in the skull, and the skull without mandible. So here we can see there is mandible will be there forming the lower jaw. So skull without mandible, it is known as cranium. Okay. And this skull, the skull, it is divided into two parts. The upper part, which forms the brain box. Okay. This portion is known as calvaria, and this portion, which forms the face, this portion is known as face. Okay. Face. Okay. And we will see which are the bones forming the calvaria or the brain box. Okay. Here we have seen this is our frontal bone, which forms the forehead. Here, this portion. So this is formed by frontal bone. This is the frontal bone. Okay. And behind the frontal bone, we can see two parietal bones. Two parietal bones, and on either side of the parietal bone, we can see here one bone, that is temporal bone. Inside that we can see the ear and all. So this is the temporal bone, both sides. Here also we have the temporal bone, this one, temporal bone, and posteriorly there is one bone, that is the occipital bone, occipital. Okay. So these are the main bones which forms the calvarium. Then towards the basal part, we can see few more bones. This is the basal part, this is foramen magnum, and here we can see this portion, this middle portion, this is formed by sphenoid bone. Okay. Sphenoid bone. The sphenoid bone we can see through this is open skull. So this is the basal part. Okay. This is basilar part, and here this portion. Okay. This portion is formed by the sphenoid bone. Okay. So same portion we can see inside. We can see the butterfly shaped bone here. This is our sphenoid. Sphenoid. This entire portion is the sphenoid bone. Okay. And towards the nasal part, okay, anteriorly, it is inside our nasal cavity. This is the nasal cavity. So inside this nasal cavity, upper portion, we can see another bone, that is ethmoid bone. We can see those openings. Okay. That is ethmoid. Ethmoid bone. Okay. Ethmoid. Here comes the sphenoid. Okay. And ethmoid bone. Okay. So all these bones can be seen forming the brain box. So this is the brain box. Okay. So inside we can see our brain is placed inside this cavity. Okay. This is known as cranial cavity. Okay. Cranial cavity. Okay. So these are the bones forming the calvaria or the brain box. Okay. So anteriorly there is frontal bone, then posterior to the frontal bone on either side there are parietal bones, then laterally to the parietal bones inferiorly there is temporal bones, then posteriorly there is occipital bone, and towards the base there is sphenoid bone. Okay. And towards the nasal cavity inside here, that is ethmoid bone. Ethmoid. Okay. Sphenoid and ethmoid bone. So these are the bones forming the calvaria. Okay. Then next we can see which are the bones forming the facial skeleton. This here we can see this is our facial skeleton. Okay. So in the facial skeleton, so this is the facial skeleton. So in the facial skeleton, we can see these two are the openings. We can see these are the orbits on either side. Eyeball, where we can see the eyeball. So these are the orbits, bony orbits. Okay, bony orbit, and this is the nasal part, nose. The opening of the nose, and below comes the below comes, this is the mouth, this is our mouth. Okay, then we can see which are the bones forming the face. So near to the nasal cavity, this one, nose, here we can see at the midline on either side two small bones can be seen. They are the nasal bones, okay, which forms the nose, nasal bones, okay, on either side. Then lateral to the nasal bones, here this bone, here we can see there is a depression, okay, that bone is known as lacrimal bone, okay, lacrimal bone. Then between the nasal and the lacrimal bone we can see some part of the maxilla is extending, frontal process of maxilla is coming here. So this is our lacrimal bone, not this one, okay. This is the nasal bone, this portion, this is the nasal bone, then comes maxilla, frontal process of maxilla, and this one, this is the lacrimal bone, okay, lacrimal bone, okay. Then lower, here we can see on either side there are two maxilla, this one, okay, maxilla can be seen on either side. Then lateral to that, here we can see this is our zygomatic bone, which forms our cheek, prominence of our cheek, okay. So that is zygomatic bone. So this is the maxilla and this is zygomatic bone, okay. Then below that we can see this our this is our mandible. This is mandible. So mandible is the only movable bone in the skeleton, in the skull, sorry, not in skeleton. The skull, only movable bone is the mandible. Okay, all are fixed, others are fixed. Less movable bones. Freely movable bone is only the mandible. Okay, so this is mandible. So these are the bones forming the facial skeleton. Okay, so midline on either side nasal bones, then comes lacrimal bone, then comes maxilla, then zygomatic bone, then lower comes the mandible. Okay, so these are the main bones which forms. Then I forgot to tell you one more bone. Here we can see the nasal septum. Okay, towards the nasal septum, this one. Here one more bone can be seen. This is known as vomer, which forms the nasal septum. Okay, vomer. This is the vomer. Okay, so vomer also can be seen. And here on either side you can see small bones. These are the palatine bones. Palatine bone. Okay, this is maxilla. So these are the palatine bones. These two are the palatine bones. Okay, so these are the bones which forms the facial skeleton. Okay, so these are the bones of skull, forming both calvaria and the facial skeleton. Okay, so total 22 pairs can be seen, 22 bones can be seen. Okay, so next is keeping the skull in the anatomical position. Okay, so there are two ways for keeping the skull in the anatomical position. One is Reed's baseline. Okay, Reed's baseline. So according to the Reed's baseline, this is our ear, opening of the ear, external acoustic meatus. This is known as external acoustic meatus or opening of the ear. Okay, according to this is our orbit. Okay, then according to the Reed's baseline, the external central portion of the external acoustic meatus and this infraorbital, this is orbital margin here. So in lower portion, this is the inferior orbital margin. So this inferior orbital margin and this central part of the external acoustic meatus should come in the same line. So while keeping in the anatomical position, so we have to keep this side, we can say. Okay, we have to keep in such a way that this center of this cavity and this margin should come in the same line. That means like this. Okay, so like this we have to keep skull in the anatomical position. This line should come meet the same central portion of the external acoustic meatus. So both should come in the same plane. So this is according to the Reed's baseline. Okay, and there is one more line is there for keeping the skull in the anatomical position, that is Frankfurt's line. Okay, so according to the Frankfurt's line, so what is the the upper margin. This upper margin of the external acoustic meatus and the inferior orbital margin should come in the same line. Okay, so like this it should come. So like this we have to keep the skull in anatomical position. According to Reed's baseline, it is like this, central portion. According to the Frankfurt's line, upper portion of the external acoustic meatus. So these are the two ways for keeping the skull in anatomical position. So this is a section after cutting the skull into two parts. Okay. So after removing the upper part of the skull cap. Okay, cap of the skull. So here we can see the cavities, and this is known as cranial cavity. Okay. So cranial cavity is divided into three parts. Here we can see there is a anterior part, then middle part, and posterior part. Okay. So cranial cavity is divided into three: anterior cavity, middle cavity, and posterior cavity. Okay. And here we can see this is our frontal bone. So this is orbital plate of the frontal bone. Okay. So the middle we can see this is our ethmoid bone, ethmoid. Okay. And here these are the sphenoid bone. Ender portion, this is the sphenoid bone. Okay. Then laterally comes our temporal bone, temporal bones. This is a temporal bone. See. Okay. So temporal bone on either side. Then this ender portion, this is also this is the petrous part of temporal bone. Here we can see a pyramidal shaped part. This is the petrous part of temporal bone. Okay, on either side, this one. Okay, so these are the petrous part of temporal bone, and behind that here we can see this is our occipital bone, and this is the foramen magna. Foramen magna. Okay, and here we can see this is the lesser wing of sphenoid. Lesser wing of sphenoid. Okay. So let's say about here we can see small foramens which allow the nerves and vessels to enter inside the skull and also to leave the skull. Okay. Small foramens can be seen through which the nerves and blood vessels enter and exit the skull. Okay. So that is the cranial cavity. Okay. Cranial cavity. Here we can see at the center, this is the body of sphenoid actually. So at the center part of the body of the sphenoid, we can see there is a depression that is known as pituitary fossa. Pituitary fossa. So these are the features seen inside the skull cavity. Okay. Cranial cavity. And next is the sutures or joints between the skull bones. Okay, here the peculiarity of the joints between the skull bones are there, the sutural joints. Here we can see we already studied the classification of joints. So in that we already studied the fibrous joints. Okay, so this is an example for fibrous joint. Okay, that is joints without any movements. Okay, fibrous joint, and here we can see so many sutures. Sutures. Okay. So here we can see this is our frontal bone, and on either side there are two parietal bones. Okay. So there is a suture between the frontal and the parietal bones here. So this is known as coronal suture. Coronal suture. Okay. So between the frontal bone and the two parietal bones. Okay. So this is the coronal suture. Coronal suture. Okay. Then between the two parietal bones, here we can see one more suture, that is sagittal suture. Sagittal suture. Okay. Sagittal suture. Okay. And behind also one more suture can be seen between the two parietal bones and our occipital bone. This one. This is known as lambdoid suture. Lambdoid. Okay. Lambdoid suture. Okay. Then here also one more suture can be seen between the parietal and the temporal bone. This is parieto-temporal suture. Parieto-temporal suture. Okay. And here we can see there is a junction between the coronal suture and the sagittal suture. This point is known as brecma. Okay. The junction between the coronal suture and the sagittal suture. Okay, this is known as bregma. Okay, bregma. So bregma actually during the development stage, that is for the kids and all, this bregma is a site of fontanelle. Fontanelle means there won't be any bones in this region. Instead of that, it will be covered by a membrane. Okay. So in kids and all, we can feel the pulsation here, which is soft without any bones. So that they are known as fontanelle. That is membrane covered regions of the fetal skull. In the fetus, the skull, some regions they are covered without bone. Okay, there is no bone. Instead of bone, they are covered by membranes only. Okay, such places are known as fontanelles. Okay, so there is one anterior fontanelle. So bregma, this is corresponds to the bregma. So this region in the fetus skull, we can see it is covered by a membrane. So that is known as anterior fontanelle. So this anterior fontanelle will be replaced by bone at 1.5 year. Okay, the 1.5 year, this will be fused with the bone. So this is bregma, which corresponds to anterior fontanelle. Okay. Same here also we can see there is a junction between this sagittal suture and this lambdoid suture. So this is known as lambda. Lambda. Okay. This also corresponds to another fontanelle, that is posterior fontanelle. Okay. So this is lambda. Okay. And here lateral side, here we have already seen our coronal suture is coming. Then so here actually in this skull it is, you can't make out. So this is the coronal suture which is coming down, this coronal suture, and here there is temporoparietal suture, and here here we can see there is a junction between this is temporal bone, this is parietal bone, this is frontal bone, and here we can see this is sphenoid bone, greater wing of sphenoid. Okay, so there is an edge-shaped structure which is seen at the junction between these 4 bones. Okay. So you can make out in this, I think. Here you can see. Okay. So this is our temporal bone. Okay. Like this. Coronal suture, and like this it is going backward. This is the greater wing of sphenoid, and here we can see. Okay, here, so we can make out an edge-shaped structure. So this point is known as pterion. This point is known as pterion. Okay, here. So it is a meeting point between the frontal bone, parietal bone, greater wing of sphenoid, and temporal bone. Okay, 4 bones meet at this junction. So this point is known as pterion. Pterion. Okay. Same like this pterion, here also we can see there is a meeting point between the temporal bone, parietal bone, and occipital bone here. Okay. So that is known as asterion. See, here also we can see this is our parietal bone, temporal bone, occipital bone. Up to here is the temporal bone. Okay. So temporal bone, parietal bone and occipital bone, they meet at this junction. This is known as asterior. Asterior. Okay. So these two are also another fontanelles. Okay. Here this is anterolateral fontanelle and this is posterolateral fontanelle. Okay. So there will be total 6 fontanelles can be seen in this skeleton. Same like here also on either side. There will be one more and here also one. So 1, 2, then 3, 4. Okay. Then our brachma and our lambda. This one. 5 and 6. Okay. So 6 membrane bounded places can be seen in the fetal skull. Okay. So they are known as fontanelles. Okay. And in the adult skull, they are replaced by bone, and this anterior fontanelle is known as brachma, posterior fontanelle is known as lambda, then anterolateral portion, this is known as turion, and posterolateral it is known as asterion. Okay. And one more specialty is there for the turion, because most commonly when fracture occurs, okay, during the accidents and all, most commonly the fracture occurs in this point, turion. Okay. So if turion get fracture, what will happen? Actually, here we can see inside this portion, here, this one. So you can see a groove here. See, so that is actually a groove for the artery and veins. So our superficial temporal arteries, middle meningeal artery and vein, not superficial temporal. Here we can see a groove where the middle meningeal artery and middle meningeal vein is occupied. So external to that, see. Okay. So if there is any fracture, it can affect these middle meningeal vessels. Okay. So this middle meningeal vessel will be affected. What will happen? The bleeding will be there, and it forms the extradural hematoma. Okay. So the extradural hematoma can compress the brain. See, yes, that is the application or importance for the turion. Okay. Turion and all. That's why all are telling you have to wear the helmets. Okay. While traveling. Okay. So during head injury, this is what going to happen. Okay. So that is turion and asterion. Okay. So that's all about the skull. Okay. So one more topic related to skull are the paranasal air sinuses. Okay. So paranasal air sinus means here we can see some bones. Okay. Inside some bones, we can see some air filled spaces. Okay. They are known as paranasal air sinuses. Paranasal air sinuses. Okay, para means the surrounding, nasal means nasal cavity. Okay, surrounding the nose. Okay, surrounding the nose, some bones contains some air-filled spaces. Okay, so they are known as paranasal air sinuses. Okay, and these paranasal air sinuses actually they will provide resonance to our sound. Okay, they provide resonance to our sound. We can make out when in cold condition and all, our nasal sound will vary. Okay. So they will provide the resonance to our sound, and also the sound is produced from the larynx, but while passing through this region, so these paranasal air sinuses will provide resonance to our sound, and also they will make our skull lighter. Okay, they reduce the weight of the skull. Okay, because air don't have that much weight. Okay, so instead of the bone, that spaces will be filled with air, so it reduces the weight of the skull also. Okay, and this paranasal air sinuses can be seen in our frontal bone. Here, this is the frontal bone. So inside frontal bone also there are some air filled spaces can be seen, which forms the frontal air sinuses. So we can feel the sinusitis, why we can feel like this on either side of our nose. We can feel the frontal air sinusitis. And in the maxilla also, this is maxilla. So maxilla also contains the same air filled spaces. Okay, that we will learn in detail, maxilla and these things. And same like this, here we can see this is our ethmoid bone. So inside this ethmoid bone we can see the cavities, see the openings, so they are also filled with air. Okay, so there forms the ethmoid air sinuses. Okay, same in our sphenoid bone also, inside the sphenoid bone, inside the body, this is pituitary fossa. Below that there will the body of the sphenoid bone also contain air filled spaces which forms the sphenoidal air sinuses. Okay. So there forms the paranasal air sinuses. So that also you have to note this point, okay, this topic. So one of the important topic for paranasal air sinuses. Okay. That's all about the skull.